And welcome back to Let's Play Fear and Hunger 2, Termina. We are returning with Marco and Abella, and we are, of course, in the manor of the mayor of Prehevil, though, of course, there was not any mayoral presence waiting here for us, just a scary priest man who tried to strangle us. But with that said and done, I just quickly went over my equipment to make sure Abella has her pipe wrench re-equipped. Now that we have slept, it is advanced to afternoon of day 1. Remember, days are divided into 3 time segments, so if we sleep again, it'll be nighttime, and I would strongly advise against playing during nighttime in this game, as it causes the passive mind drain you get from being in dark areas to apply to the entire game world, because of course it's night, there's no light out, so I would strongly advise against playing during nighttime during your first playthrough. Do anything you know can only be done at night, or if it can be accomplished as early as possible during the night, and then immediately rest and just get to daytime. It'll save you a ton of supplies for your mind. Now that the time has advanced, this fellow has appeared in the manor. Good afternoon, mister. From what I understand, you are a newcomer to this town too, no? We just got a new mayor to the old town. I am sure he is thrilled to start his business immediately by meeting the newcomers. Please, he is waiting at the dining room. So, while we were sleeping in the mayor's house, a new mayor has taken up residence. How convenient. Proceed upstairs, if you will. Turn to your left, then to your right. Please do mind your manners. Would be advised not to mention the monster's antlers, for example. Alright, so guys got a bit of a temper, I take it. Well, I'm sure we can navigate around that. Let's go see this new mayor. Oof, you're a big boy. Newcomer, new comes, the new goes. Just in time for dinner. Sit down. And, you know what, yeah, let's be polite. He hasn't attacked us so far, so let's just take a seat and see what he's got to say. Newcomer, isn't it peaceful here? I'm glad to see you're not a complete loony yet, unlike those others. You saw those people, didn't you? One can only wonder what happened to the folks around these parts. They've drifted far from humanity. Only thing they seem interested in is scavenging the scraps around the old town. How am I to have an in-depth discussions with them? I want to talk about poetry, music, and culinary arts. Well, what did happen here? We are in the same boat here, my friend. I don't have the answers. I heard the Bremen military meddled with something. Some say the moonlight scorched this earth into something unrecognizable. And the town folks say, it's always been this way. Newcomer, you haven't touched the food yet. These are rare delicacies you can find only in Prehevil. I've traveled from afar just to experience them. Pick these, for example. Don't they look absolutely delicious? Use your imagination. Food can be inspiring as the highest forms of painted art or the most complicated in musical arrangements. What comes to your mind when you look at these dangling beauties? Kinda reminds me of kidneys, honestly. Let's keep this conversation sophisticated. I understand where you're coming from, but you don't need to look at them so literally. Let's see. Yes. What about this little squirmy thing? What comes to your mind? Well, to be honest, but let's not be crass. Let's say local sausage. You know, it's kind of adjacent to what I was gonna say. In a way, yes. Requires extraordinary amounts of time to cook. However, boiled for too long, and it will be too chewy. This one is my favorite. This peculiar fungus. What is the first thing that comes to your mind? Once again, but you know, let's say this. I can see that. You can still smell the damp forest floor. I don't know about you, but I'm full. I thank you for the company. From what I understand, you are needed in the city. I do have the key, however. I have one last question. Do you support the Bremen Army? Or are you a man o' Kaiser, so to speak? Let's get on his good side. Let's say we stand against the Bremen Army. Yes. You have my support. Here, the key is yours. And with that, we get the lion brass key. This is the second key required to unlock the gate to the actual city of Prehevil. So now that we've got this, we can actually move on our way. The other key is with the army, I'm afraid. Oh, we've already got that taken care of, my pal. Please be discreet. I do not wish to start trouble with the Kaiser. Do not mention my part in this. Well, that is awfully pleasant and even somewhat dapper gentleman for a horribly malformed mutant. Let's kill him. Yeah, I know. Attack. So you've decided to play by their rules. This is how you repay my kindness? Now, if you aggravate him enough, he will attack you, but we're just going to take him down through brute force. Now, the part of him that we want to disable is the arm holding the knife. The fork actually does deal more damage, plus bleed and infection, but the knife can delim us, and we don't want to deal with that, so, oh, actually... Okay, never mind. His torso HP is actually relatively low. Luckily, getting that crit means we can probably finish this off next turn. Unfortunately, it looks like this is triggering Marco's phobia, so he is taking a pretty nasty amount of damage. A revved up shot to the torso should take him out here. There we go. Took a little bit more damage than I would have liked. Unfortunately, it seems that he triggered the teratophobia, but nothing too bad. Huh, that's strange. Why'd you give us a soul? We got the suffocated soul for our efforts. Let's quickly heal off that bleeding there. Don't want to deal with that. And let's search him, see what he's got. Get a knife, meat pie, linen vest, and a lucky coin. The only thing I really care about in that haul is the lucky coin. We can also decapitate him. Wonder if we can use this head for anything. Alright, took the gentleman's head as a trophy. Good stuff, good stuff. I actually just want to quickly go through my books here. Let's see, I got Alchemilla Volume 3, but I do not have Volume 1 or Volume 2. That's actually important to keep in mind, and will come up very soon, actually. To start off, let's re-equip Abella, because we're going to be getting into another fight in the very near future. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure Marco is topped off. We've gotten lucky and picked up some healing items here, so I can afford to use some of the blue vials that we've picked up. It is not at all necessary to kill the mayor, though if you would rather not engage with him in discussion, you can absolutely just kill him and take the key that way. You may have noticed that the butler, now that he is without a mayor to serve, has once again just abandoned the mayor's manor. With that all taken care of, we're now going to open up the gate. But we're actually not going to do too much in the old city. I'm just going there to take care of one quick bit of business, and then we're actually going to be seeing a large chunk of the old town that we have not yet explored, as there is a lot of items that I want to get from there. Now, one thing to be mindful of is when we return from the mayor's manor and go back into the... Oh, hey, I can decapitate this guy. Let's just do this real quick. But when we return to Old Town and head out into, or towards the city gate, this guy comes out and attacks us. Before, he was spraying his pesticide on the fish, but once you've done your business at the mayor's manor, I think even just reach it, he will become hostile towards you. The vial, because of his animal theming being based on pigs, he's triggering Abella's zoophobia, but that shouldn't be too much of a concern. Now, this guy actually has a unique thing we can do by talking, but just in case what I'm about to do fails, we want to make sure we disable that hand with the pesticide spray, since that will deal a large amount of damage and poison our characters. He'll still be able to whack us with the canister, but I'm not as concerned about the damage from that. Alright, so, kinda having a hard time understanding you, buddy. You try talking to the masked man, but his words are muffled by the gas mask. I'm sorry, what was that? You could say that again? Sorry, what was that? Oh, that is some intense breathing. Vile is losing his cool because of your lack of understanding. Furiously, he lifts his mask. The mask seems to have melted on his face partially, but underneath it you can see a row of sharp teeth grimacing at you. And here we are given a flip of the judgment coin. Let's use one of our lucky coins to go for a double flip. Ah, failure. No more talking. Only the vile survive. Rare, take me. That's pretty unfortunate. If you succeed that throw... Okay, that was, you know what, change of plans. We're going to take out that canister arm. I did not expect Abella to actually finish off his other arm there. But if you succeed that coin flip, he will get a nice whiff of his own pesticide and end up accidentally killing himself that way. And this is one of the few fights where you can actually kill the enemy through a dialogue prompt. Actually, I think it might be the only one. Surprised that the guy is missing, because Abella should have an evasion penalty due to her zoophobia. Guess this guy just has lousy natural accuracy. Whatever the case, he's not too terribly tough if you take out his sprayer arm, so we got him. Bit unfortunate that I wasted the lucky coin on a failed toss. Get some moldy bread there. You do have a chance of getting a gas mask accessory from this guy, but unfortunately it is not guaranteed. We're just gonna take his head. Always, always, always make sure to re-equip Abella with the pipe wrench. Now that we've taken out the vial, we can search these barrels that he was standing by. And of course we mostly get junk from them, but whatever. Hey, this guy's new. What do you got to say, my friend? Trying to get behind the door of old Prehevil to town old Prehevil, are we? Ugh. The nasty men who Kaiser blocked the place off. It's off limits. The Bremen army cut the town off? Aye, they most certainly did. And here I thought the war was ready coming to an end. Yeah, so that guy doesn't say too much, but he does give you some hints to, oh, so I've already gotten this guy's head. I don't know why I didn't have that pipe villager's head. Oh, whatever. Let's, open up the gate here. There are alternative ways to get into the old city of Prehevil, and we'll be going over those in a future video, but for right now, we have made it into the city of Prehevil proper. Like I said, we're not going to spend too much time in here. We're just heading into this diner, and then we're going to immediately leave the area. Okay. Cash register seems untouched despite all the chaos in the town. And we get 10 shillings. Nice. Nice little bit of pocket money there. Your shillings are under your item inventory. Do keep in mind that you can only carry up to 99 shillings. We're pretty close to that cap. I've been getting kind of lucky with my money pickups here, so we do want to be careful. I don't want to pick up anything that would put me over the limit, which is actually more important than you'd think. So, inside this restaurant and in the basement... Hey, it's that guy we saw earlier. He's not looking so good, though. He is sweaty and shaking. You okay? He's shaking his head. The boy is avoiding your eye contact the best he can. You notice shot marks on the bend of his arm. Looks like he's been injecting himself with something. You've injected yourself with something? It's just... nothing. I don't need help. I need to deal with this myself. Well, is there anything we can do? He's shaking and his skin looks very pale. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend this under most situations, but in this case, we do need to make some show of goodwill to get this guy on our side, so... you'll feel like a real man when you feel the spike go into your vein. The boy is looking at you in disbelief, but is clearly tempted by your offer. You look away as he injects the heroin. Not exactly the most heroic thing we've done since we got here, although we haven't really done much heroic to begin with. Thanks. I'm Levi. He is nervously looking around and avoiding your eye contact. Other than that, though, he seems decent enough. I'm not feeling all that well. Would it be okay if I came with you for a while? Yeah, of course, man. And he comes ready to rumble, because he comes with a rifle and some ammo for it. Meet our next party member, Levi, and of the humanoid party members in this game, he is by far the weakest. Levi is a heroin addict, and being a heroin addict means that he goes into withdrawal whenever he is not high on the drug. And for the purpose of demonstrating this, I suppose, even though we just gave him some, he is currently not high at the moment. He is in stage 1 withdrawal. Now, when you use heroin, you get a 30% bonus to all your stats except for body and mind. It also restores your mind stat fully. However, using heroin has a 100% chance of being an addictive action. Once you are addicted to heroin, as soon as the high wears off, you go into withdrawal. Like I said, Levi is in stage 1 withdrawal right now, so let's just take a look at his stats, and you'll see that's quite a bit lower than everybody else. Stage 1 withdrawal lowers your stats by 10%. After about a minute or so, and it really is not much time at all for this to degrade even further, he goes into stage 2 withdrawal. In stage 2 withdrawal, all of his stats are lowered by 30%, flipping the bonus you got from taking heroin in the first place. So yeah, drugs are bad, kids. Let's not waste ammo with him, and do we have any other equipment that we can give him? Anything that's slightly better than what he's got? Not really. I've actually been having really, really bad luck with the chests in the game so far, so we're not exactly doing well on equipment when it comes to combat. Just some other things to check out in here. We've got some wine casks here. If you have a glass vial, you can fill it up and get a wine vial, a nice mind restorative that restores 40 mind. Looks like we got a few glass vials to spare. Looks like not enough to get everything, though. Some more supplies to get in here. Always loot areas fully. You want to get everything you possibly can, especially since we're starting to have our mind go down. We're likely going to have to use some of our liquor in the very near future. Use lockpicking to get in here. Otherwise, at this point with 3 party members, you can easily just break doors down. So if you don't have a small key or lockpicking, you can easily do that. Nice, get a gasoline canister. Get a lucky coin here to replace the one that we lost on Vial. I always appreciate that. Boy, I'm getting tons of rotten meat. Sea ration is better, though. I don't really care too much about any of the things. Oh, yeah, duct tape is in this game, but it's misspelled as duct tape. Reminds me of Mega's XLR. I don't really care too much about what I can get from the shelves, because I'm not really going to learn any of the crafting abilities that use anything you get from those, at least in this playthrough, but I just kind of loot everything out of a habit, since it's a good habit to get into. Now that that's all said and done, like I said, let's get out of the city for now. We're going to be heading back before this video is over, but we got a lot that's left to check out in Old Town. First order of business is to head back to this 2-story house. You may remember that there was a circle, and now we have the Bible of the God of Fear and Hunger. And this just so happens to be a circle that he is compatible with. I'm actually going to take this opportunity to read a book here. Let's use these matches to light up, or, well, stand in the candlelight so we don't lose any mind. Let's read the occult grimoires so we can get a better understanding of how this works. The Occult Grimoire is Magic in Theory and Practice, written by Samiri Zmri, translated by Oscar Rente. So that one doesn't lose his mind along with the soul, one must come prepared for all situations. The basics of any knowledge are always the most important. You need steady foundations in order to build the tower to the gods. To perform any rites on a ritual circle, the founding circle must be carved first. From top to bottom, the first one is the asymmetric circle. The asymmetric circle represent the older gods and their one-sided distribution of power. The second one is called the imperfect circle. The imperfect circle is the mark of the new gods who have strived for perfection since their conception, never to attain it truly. The last one is called the perfection circle. The perfection circle represents countless spiraling cycles culminating in the birth of the ascended ones, the ones who are able to go beyond human limits. One must never assign sigils not meant for their founding circles. That is the lesson to take from here. The beauty of these rites is that you cannot change them, but they can change you. So what this is trying to tell you is that you can absolutely waste circles by drawing improper sigils on them. This right here, of course, is a perfection circle represented by a golden ratio pattern, and a ascended god sigil happens to be the god of fear and hunger. The god of fear and hunger is a god who ascended at the end of the first game. By drawing their sigil on a perfection circle, we first off get their affinity increased. This is the way to increase affinity with gods, and we'll go over what this does when it becomes pertinent by the end of this video. But by drawing the symbol of the god of fear and hunger on a perfection circle, it spawns a statue of the god of fear and hunger. At this statue, you can save your game one time. Afterwards, the statue will crack and break and become useless. If you are playing on the easy difficulty, you can use the fear and hunger statues up to 3 times, giving you far more chances to save your game. Additionally, if you talk to Marina on the train when you first have a chance to after the opening cutscene, she will give you a God of Fear and Hunger Bible, which is actually a really good benefit to start with. So yeah, they really do give you a lot of perks to work with on easy mode. Now that that's all said and done, we're going to head into the areas of Old Town we have not yet gotten a chance to explore, because there's quite a bit for us to get there. So to get into the slums of the Old Town, we have to head through this house right here. Now, around this corner, there'll be a couple of villagers waiting at the tables. If we avoid those glass shards and just walk on by, we can avoid a confrontation with them. Where's the fun in that, right? Now these guys we can absolutely just take out by, as you can see, Levi has already advanced in the stage 2 withdrawal, so his stats are pitiful at the moment. But yes, we can just defeat this guy by just engaging him directly with no problem. And then let's re-equip Abella's wrench. And take this dude down. Looks like killing intent does not actually affect him. And once again, we can just ignore strategy here and just go straight for the kill. These guys do not have very much HP at all. I'd just like to give this moment a shout out. Take this moment to give a shout out to the Tormentapedia, which is the dedicated Fear and Hunger wiki. They actually have compiled all the HP values of the enemies plus their evasion rates, and I now know for certain that enemies, when you attack their torsos, by and large, they do not have any evasion, and that's just dependent on skills that could potentially miss, so I can usually just yuck Abella's wrench at them and take them out that way. One thing you might want to avoid doing on your own personal playthroughs, if you're planning to take a certain route involving magic, is to not behead these villagers with sickles. There is something that you can do with them after learning a specific skill, and it has to specifically be the sickle villagers. It does not work with other varieties. Here we've got bear traps. Be very careful around these. In fact, I'd highly advise against running when in the presence of these things. If you step over them, you will lose both your legs. Nice! Pet pills. Very good. Having those actually gives me strong odds of winning a very tough fight at this point in the game, so I'm actually super appreciative to get those. Sweet, another bone saw. Could always use more of those in case they crack, and it will allow me to show off something with the bone saws later. More bear traps here, so once again, just walk when in the presence of these. Unless you're doing a speed run, there's no reason to hurry here. Now, heading into the slums of the old town. A strange-looking fellow over there. Even stranger than the ones we've seen so far. Well, let's go up and give him a hug. This is a moon-scorched ghoul. This guy we also have an option for dealing with by talking to him, so let's do that. But just in case something unexpected happens, always set up your kill moves. So when this guy taunts us, ignore it. And once he taunts again, ignore it. And then, on the final time, call his bluff. Yeah, something else. What do you want? And we can ask him for supplies. And he'll give them to us. At this point, he'll become non-hostile. It's no use, you know. The time will come when one of us has to die. Well, that's your thoughts, buddy. Now, on a less threatening note, we've got these people over here. The man is crying in pain. What's going on here? Leave me be. Just leave. We also have the option to attack him. Well, let's not put too much mind to that. Now, who's this fellow over here? The dark corner of the unwanted and the undesired, where they dump the diseased, stillborn, and now the moon-scorched. Welcome, O fresh one. Welcome to the shit pit of Prehevil. Nice decorations you got here, buddy. Under the ever-watching eye of the dead. I want more, though. I want the one who swiped half the old town down, the woodsman. Then I want the one who condemned us down here. I want the filthy priest. I'll see what I can do, but we've already failed this quest. If you have the heads of the woodsman and the decrepit priest from the mayor's manor, you can trade them for an accessory called, oh man, I forget what it's called, but it's a shield that you can equip that gives you some resistance to otherworldly attacks, but it's really not a good item, so I just prefer to sacrifice those heads for the soul stones. But hey, if you want to make the trade for it, by all means. Hey, finally succeeded on a chest. Makeshift armor is armor with decent protection values, but it gives a massive penalty on your agility, so I really wouldn't recommend using it. What do you got to say, man? Just look at me. Just look at me! Deflated lips, hanging eyelids. Oh, my face. I feel like it might be better to put these people out of their misery, honestly. They seem to be stuck in tearing their faces off. And yes, you can kill all of these people with no penalty, and it is actually highly advisable that you do so. All of these people, we can decapitate all of them and trade their heads in for a ton of soul stones, which I am going to be doing so. This is cruel, but honestly, we're probably doing these people a favor. They are not doing so hot. I'll take care of all of that off screen though, so don't worry about that. Got another one of these coffins up here. Oh, no skin off my nose. Doesn't seem to be anything. Okay. Once again, I will be killing these ghouls, but to start, just to get some extra supplies, we'll talk it out with them, since there's really no reason not to. More items are always better than less items, right? And hey, a lucky coin is one of the better things that they can give you. Alright, let's leave him be. Come on, buddy, get out of my... Hey! Okay, you're getting annoying, so let's just take this guy out now. But there are moon-scorched ghouls you can encounter later in the game who this works inconsistently on. This is not a guaranteed thing on every ghoul that you will come across, so do not always expect it to work. For the ghouls in this part of Old Town, though, this is 100% guaranteed. These guys are the exception to that little bit of thing, and boy, we're getting hungry. We better use up our food here. Okay. Hey, matches, nice. Get back some of the mind we're losing when we come across candles. Alright, we're doing pretty good on stuff here, so let's go in a little deeper. Now, this little shack here connects to something pretty important. We got another hatch here, and if we throw this open... we'll find ourselves in another tunnel, Tunnel 5. This is a backup route into the old city, though it requires, oh, that's a really good item to get, actually, the sewer winch. I'm not going to use it, but it is earlier than intended that we got that, which is the case with a couple items. Another item that you can get earlier than intended that has some use are the bolt cutters. But Tunnel 5 allows you a backdoor route into the city, provided you either have lockpicking, a small key, or just enough firepower on your side to break down doors, which we do, and it's pretty easy to get a spell that will allow you to easily destroy doors when going, or at this point in the game, particularly if you pick the right characters for it. Now, something awaits us in this cabin right here. Hey, it's Dan! Seems to be lost in his thoughts. What's happening here? This poor bastard. He's a real mixed bag of symptoms. His body seems to be going through a metamorphosis of some kind. On one hand, it looks like severe radiation burn. Parts of the body looks to suffer from frostbite, and overall he's in a state of hypothermia. Well, fuck. I've never seen anything like it. Peculiar little bugger. There's more like him outside, too. Yep, slums are filled with the sick. On a more positive note, it doesn't seem to spread via physical contact or through air. But maybe it's too early to say that. We'd exactly be safe from it. Who are you, anyway? There's so many new faces at the train, I couldn't bother to memorize each and every single name. Pleasure. My mother called me Dan, and my father called me Daniel, so it's anyone's guess which one is the real name. This mess requires further studies. I have to check out the nearby slums again. You're free to join if you want. Sure. Now, unfortunately, Dan does not join us permanently here. Let's try to avoid confrontation out there. Things don't seem right. Whatever is causing these symptoms in their bodies seems to affect their mind. But like I said, Dan does not join permanently here. He is temporarily with us, and by temporarily, I mean he'll leave as soon as we go in a direction any screen. So let's just take a quick look at him, though, to get a preview of this character. Dan comes with the Analyze skill, the Diagnosis ability, and Magna Medicinal. Analyze is a pretty cool skill. It scans the weak point of the enemy, which is almost invariably the head, and disables the evasion on it, and allows you to strike it, often allowing you to instantly kill enemies after it's used. The nice thing about abilities like Analyze or things that disable evasion is that they take place the same turn they're used. A lot of the accuracy modifiers in this game kind of have a problem where they don't really seem to take effect until the turn after they come into play, but Analyze does not work like that. It just disables the evasion to the head entirely, allowing you to strike it, which is a pretty good thing if you make Dan the fastest character in your party. Diagnosis just allows them to examine the corpses of enemies and give you a little bit of flavor text on their condition, as well as tell you what attack types they're weak to. A lot of similar enemies are weak to the same thing, as you'd expect. Magna Medicinal is the only revival skill in the game. It can only be used in battle to revive people who've fallen in battle, but Dan can sacrifice a limb as well as 50 mind in order to revive people who fall in battle. And since death is, of course, a permanent state, this is pretty handy under the right circumstances. It also has a very, very good bug. Should Dan have limb protection, such as arm guards or the salmon snake soul, which prevents limb loss entirely, Magna Medicinal will actually not take his limbs, so you can kind of cheese it like that, though the 50 mind cost is pretty steep. There are also a few bugs that allow you to avoid having Dan leave on you here. You can there is a specific tile you can walk past that prevents him from leaving, and there's also a bug involving bringing up the map or the talk ability that stops him from leaving if you do it over a sequence trigger. Speaking of talk, let's just see what it's like now we've got a whole party together. Such stillness and peace. It almost lulls you into a trance. The lake looks so huge because you can't see the other side. I wonder if we could just swim across the lake to get out of here. When I was a child, I found a body of another orphan washed ashore. He was all bloated and, yeah. Yeah, Levi kind of shooting down Dan's idea right there. I would not think it was a good idea, especially since we don't exactly know what is on the opposite shore. Leaving already? And that's the plan. I'll still see if there's something I can do for these people. I'll meet up with you later, okay? Alright, good luck, or perhaps, is it wise to disperse? Probably not, but I need to look further into this sickness. Take care out there. Well, at least he's aware it's not a good idea. But yes, Dan leaves us pretty quickly after he joins. Don't worry, though, if you like him, and I'm a fan of Dan, I think he's a pretty fun character and a pretty useful party member and protagonist. We will be able to recruit him permanently later. Heading out onto the riverside. Gotta be very careful here. Ugh, took a shot. Yes, these riflemen can shoot you on the field, and it deals 10 body damage to everyone in your party. Nothing too terrible, though. And we can take this guy... Oh, whoops, I forgot to equip the wrench. It was bound to happen that I was gonna forget that. Let's see. Let's play it safe instead. Let's go for taking out his arms here. I doubt Levi will get to go before this guy gets to go, because his agility... Oh, yeah, his agility is now down to 7, but we got lucky there, and he ended up wasting a turn. And that is why you always make sure that you re-equip your wrench. Whoopsie. Well, not the end of the world. We got pretty lucky there. Some enemies do have attacks that allow them to just waste their turn. Actually, now that I think about it, why don't I give Levi the iron spear instead of the axe? Give him a little bit more damage to work with. Granted, 46 is barely better than a kitchen knife, but you know. Alrighty, let's saw off his head. And that's all there really is to comment on as far as enemies on the screen. This guy's just here to get the jump on you and likely cost you a bit of your body. But make a note of this waterway entry here. This is another alternative route into Prehevil. A lot of these alternative routes into the city do kind of connect to the same place, but again, we'll go over that in a future video. There are actually a lot more ways into the city than a lot of people realize. I commonly see it stated that there's only 2 ways to get into the city, but that's not the case at all. Last I counted, there's at least 7 distinct ways, although I'll admit some of these distinct ways do tend to be just variations on a similar theme. Heading into this area here, we just want to go up here and find a bunch of red herbs. Once we get Alchemilla Volume 1, the purpose of these red herbs will become very apparent, although if you've played Resident Evil before, you probably can already guess what we can do with those. Now, there is actually an interesting bit of party talk we can get here. Let's keep quiet. We're pretty close to the town. We don't want to alarm the villagers and the townsfolk. I think we're a little bit too late for that, Abella. Oh, this place. I entirely forgot about this. When I was a kid, when I lived around here, I stashed some... well, I hid some items here inside a fallen dead tree. Don't remember the exact spot, but it should be here, somewhere here. And yes, you actually do not need to get that party talk in order to know this, but there is indeed a secret stash of items you can grab here. Now, I'm going to admit, it's going to be a bit of a waste to grab these, because part of the stash is money, and I'm already past the point where this is going to overflow, and I'm just going to lose some money. But since I'm probably not going to be heading back this way anytime soon, we can get 15 shillings and an old bottle of beer. Oh, this tree. This was the spot. This was the stash I talked about. And yes, there is actually a slight variation there. If you get the stash without seeing Levi's party talk, he'll go a little bit more on how he got that items, which, as you can imagine, a kid with a bottle of beer, he just stole that stuff. And with that, we have actually looped all the way back to the train. Now let's head into the train for a second so we can show off some stuff here. First order of business. Oh, whoops. This is the car that we need to go into. Marina has finished her perfection circle here, so let's quickly make a God of Fear and Hunger carving here. I do actually want to make sure I hit up this circle, because it'll allow me to hit level 3 affinity with the God of Fear and Hunger by the end of this video. Now, heading over this way. Hey, I think I'll sit down for a bit. I've had enough adventuring for the time being. I think I'll sit down there for a while if it's okay. So yes, the train is one of your safe haven areas. When walking over a specific point, your characters will disperse to different points of the train, and to re-recruit them, you just have to talk to them. We're going to talk to Marina and Olivia. Neither of them can join us at the moment, but they do have some dialogue. Oh, it's a little something I carved out of boredom, leaving my mark on the train. Just a normal Monday life in the life of a vandal. Actually, it's the perfection circle. It's used to worship certain older gods. Might come handy, if you know what to do with it. And I do indeed. How about you, Olivia? How you doing? The others left for the city. I guess they grew tired of waiting. The doc did say he'd get some help here as soon as possible. You decided to stay at the train? Oh, no, we just came to see how you're doing. Oh, what? That's so sweet. We got in after the mist got thicker. I don't mind waiting just for a little while longer. Actually, there is a reason why I can't exactly leave this train. I have a condition where my legs don't function properly. I'll spare you the details, but suffice to say, it makes the situation we're in even more troublesome. Don't you have a wheelchair? Yes, you would think I'd have one, right? To make things more complicated, there was going to be someone picking me up with the wheelchair. Too bad that someone didn't expect me here in the middle of this forest. Can't make things too easy. If only we could find a wheelchair for Olivia. Hey, trying to relax for a brief second. How about you? When did you last have a rest? No rest for the weary. Come on, let's get going. Sure thing. No use sitting on my behind all day. Yes, just ask your characters to tag along, and they will. Want to tag along? Sure, I'm ready to go. Alright, with that all said and done, let me see here. One thing I'd just like to comment on is while you're standing in the train... Yes, your mind passively restores in the train, so if you are hard up for mind restoratives, you can just stand in safe areas and get your mind back very slowly. It's, yeah, I mean, it recharges at a pretty decent rate. I mean, let me see here. Just walk back and forth a couple steps and... Oh, never mind. Okay, there we go. It looks like you get one mind back like every 5 to 6 seconds. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to return to Old Town, and I'm going to kill everybody there. We want their heads. So I'll just cut that out of the video and meet you back at the next point of interest. Let me go get all those heads. Alright, so next point of interest that I want to cover is this guy talks about something actually interesting. He still sees the green hue. Devours everything, huh? Interesting. Additionally, I just wanted to show off that male Moonscorched villagers actually do have unique sprites, but much like the female villagers, they do not do anything to you. They just repeatedly claw their faces out. One thing to note about these Moonscorched villagers is that because they do not do anything, you can actually, if you have items that passively regenerate your HP and your mind, you can just pass your turns and heal up for free using those accessories. I'm not going to do that because it's kind of a cheesy thing to do, but it is an option if you're struggling with the game and want more options for recovering yourself. Well, sorry, buddy. You're more useful to us as a corpse. But yes, you can finish this guy off. I'm not sure if you can finish him off while Dan is examining him, but we're just going to do so. He did have arms and legs. I didn't really go over arms and legs, but you can eat those if you don't mind a little cannibalism to restore 30 hunger. But they're also useful for a skill that we can get later. Alright, I'll meet you at the next thing to comment on. Alright, and hey, it's Karin. Dan, was it, right? What do you think could be causing this? Still think that army conspiracy theory is such a foolish one? Sheesh. I just came here. I know as much as you do at this point. Doesn't look like something that would transfer to us by physical contact. Maybe it's too early to say for sure. Ah! I didn't even consider the possibility of getting this myself. I was talking to a few of these poor saps earlier, and they claim the moonlight did this. So that got me thinking maybe a bomb of some kind could have detonated nearby, and these people mistook the bright explosion as the moonlight. I've read about experimental warfare that might fit the bill, and the sickness we see in these people could be radioactive fallout from such explosion. But then again, an explosion of that magnitude would surely catch attention worldwide. So you are considering army meddling. Would be silly not to, but you never know. Hey, maybe the culprit is just what these people say. The moonlight did it. And here I thought you were an educated professional. I actually never got proper education, so you assumed wrong. Then what am I talking to you for? Good question. Well, that's what I was wondering myself, too. And Karen goes off her way. Alright, Dan, we're just gonna slaughter these people here. Alright, now that these guys are nice and decapitated, you got any more dialogue for us, Karen? It's you! Just what the hell is going on in this town? Something very bad, is putting it mildly. The locals, did you get attacked too? Yep. I'm just glad I took my pistol with me. The scoop just became a lot bigger. I have to be careful what I wish for in the future. What do you know about the scoop? I smelled something was off about Bremen occupying Prehevil. It seemed like the whole Bremen campaign focused on getting here. That makes no sense. It should just be another backwaters town. I have my connections to different organizations and groups. One of the resistance groups fighting against Bremen Empire confirmed my suspicions. Something was about to go down here. I wasn't informed about anything else, really. I can't believe I wasn't even warned about this place. That guy will have hell to pay once I get back to civilization. Alright, so Karen got a little bit more than she bargained for here. Oh, I'm trying to talk to Dan here, come on. Oh, hey. This place, am I right? Not really, if I'm completely honest. Haven't seen anything like this before. Well, that was illuminating. Alright, so I'm going to finish off the rest of the Moonscorched here, and then I'm going to trade in all the heads for some soulstone shards, and then we can finally return to the old city. So, like an idiot, I did exactly what I said you shouldn't do and ran in the presence of a bear trap, and guess what? I lost my legs. But you know what? I'm okay. This allows me to show off something else. One of the Bibles we got was the Bible of Sylvian, whose symbol looks like a certain something. This needs to be drawn on an asymmetrical circle because Sylvian is an old god, but her effect is one of the most prominent and useful in the game. Draw her symbol on a asymmetrical circle. Not only will we get some affinity with her, but we will be rejuvenated and whole again, restoring our lost limbs as well as fully healing our body and mind. Very, very nice. And we wanted to get some affinity with her anyway, so I was going to have to use one of these circles at some point. But man, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, I just walked right over one without even thinking. Fortunately, once we get into the city, we'll never have to worry about bear traps again, though we will probably be coming back this way a couple of times, so I do have to be mindful of when that situation comes up. Since we're pretty close to the imperfection circle, and there's something I want to show off here anyway, let's quickly throw in some heads and get our soulstone shards. But there is something to take note of here. We have 17 severed heads in our possession, 15 of which are non-contestant heads. So the game draws a distinction between the heads that we get from contestants and the heads that we get from anything else. We want to sacrifice all our non-contestant heads here. And once again, we will get our soul stones from the Tainted One. Or rather, our soulstone shards. Once again, always make sure you craft those right away. You do not want to go to sleep after forgetting to do so, like I have done so many times when I first started playing this game. But yes, why is there the distinction between the contestant heads and the non-contestant heads? That's actually going to come up in about probably like a minute or so. So let's get into the old city. Now, heading into the Old City, I'm just going to warn you preemptively about something we need to be very, very careful of. We're about to get into the point of this game where the enemies become a lot more serious, and we actually do have to be careful with how we approach them. The first enemies that you run into... Hey, is that August? The first enemies you run into in the Old City are kind of a notorious stumbling point for new players. Ooh, that's a super good accessory we just got there. We're going to put that on Levi straight away. The Ballistic Shield gives you plus 20 resistance to all physical damage types plus fire. Very, very nice. This will make Levi a lot more survivable. Very good that we got that. Hopefully we can get something else good from these. More food. We could definitely use more, at least. We've been going pretty slow. Slower than I normally do, so, any shillings we get at this point are wasted. But still, it's better to loot and hopefully get some stuff like pet pills or heroin. Here we go. Bobbies. These guys are notorious for being a stumbling block for new players. Those 3 arms... Each one of them attacks, and they can deal upwards of 30 damage if you have no armor to work with, which is a very, very real possibility. You want to take these guys as seriously as possible, and always go for a strategy that mitigates the amount of damage they do. Fortunately, the arms are extremely weak. They only deal, or they only have like 60 HP, so pretty much anybody can kill them. Once the arms are destroyed, we can start working on his body. Oof. Yeah, unfortunately, he still has tackling as an option. Now, let's see here. So, yeah, his arms grow back every other turn, so we do have to keep up the pressure and keep destroying the arms. Actually doing pretty bad here. Abella is taking a lot of damage. One thing to also note is that the Bobby speed ties with you, so he could potentially go first and start getting some wax off. And I've been getting pretty... Oh, hey. Occasionally, he can also stop spinning his head. That is... That disables the evasion on his head and allows us to one-shot him. There we go. Now, we aren't out of the woods yet. Bobbies have a unique mechanic. We need to go over them, and we need to stomp them to make sure they're good and dead. Bobbies are the only enemy in the game that can get up after being killed, should you fail to finish them off. And I actually took a lot more damage from that than I usually do, so that was very, very unfortunate. Let's use a light blue healing vial on Abella there. If you attempt to saw off their head without stomping them dead, they'll immediately get back up, and they do not stay down for long. They only stay down for like 5 seconds or so. Now, like the moon-scorched villagers in the slums, they can, in fact, be abused for free healing, but I don't find them to be as safe for this purpose, so I don't really care to do that. Heading this way, though. Hey, there's someone crouched over here. Do I even want to know? There's a tall man here wearing what seems to be a rubber mask. Oh. Here I am, busy with my own business, completely ignoring this beautiful chap. All apologies, pleased to meet you. You can call me Pocketcat. Pocketcat was a minor NPC in the first game who you could make a single trade with to get a potentially very useful item, but the trade had some disturbing implications as he treated children as currency. You probably do not need to analyze too deeply into that to figure out what the subtext with Pocketcat is. You have one of those familiar faces. I feel like we've met somewhere before. Perhaps in a past life? Maybe? Things should have changed since then, haven't they? We live in peculiar times. The world has gone through true darkness. The world has been at a standstill. In a deep rest. People stocked up on toilet paper and hid in their homes with their loved ones. They were waiting for that glimpse of light just because they knew that even the darkness has a breaking point. Say, old sport, what do you think follows such intense darkness? I feel like there's at least a little bit of period of upheaval. Yes, not light or darkness, but grey. Very insightful indeed. From personal experience, I'd say true darkness is followed by chaos. The mind, or the common consciousness we all share, strives for something new. When one truly is done with the darkness, one strives for new with such vigor that growing pains are inevitable. But there lies the danger. You see, chaos can ragdoll us into any one direction. The direction is not always towards the light. Sometimes one can find themselves lost in a limbo that is the chaos. When you enter the limbo from a dark place, there's a big chance that you contaminate the chaos with your darkness and just create a new pitch-black place. Maybe even darker than the one before? I guess I'm just rambling here, letting my mind wander and my mouth slander, as they say. You know me. When I get excited, I can go on and on and on. Oh, do continue, Pocketcat. I didn't mean to take your time. From what I understand, you've got your hands full with the festival already. So I'll get straight to the point. Not only a wandering gentleman, but I'm also a head salesman of sorts with deep, deep pockets. What is a head salesman, you ask? Well, it's exactly what it sounds. I'm willing to part from my valuable collection if the price is right, and the price is severed heads of those participating in the festival. Macabre, I know, but you get used to it. God knows I did. That is what I have to offer. It's quite a nice collection, even if I say so myself. 2 contestant heads is all you got. What do you want to trade them for? And this is the purpose of our contestant heads. We can trade them for the valuable books in this game, the crafting books, as well as the skin Bibles. And if we already have all of these books, which you can get all of these books without ever trading with Pocketcat, you can trade your remaining contestant heads for Books of Enlightenment, which allow you to save anywhere. Now, I'm actually a bit ahead on contestant heads, so we can actually get the 2 Alchemilla books, which we want to do, because these allow us to craft some very, very, very useful items, particularly really good healing items and a really good attacking item. And we have no more heads to trade, so let's just finish up here. Happy to do business with you. It truly was a pleasure to meet you once again, but I fear I must go for now. The tower you were heading towards? It's to the east of here, just beyond the church's hidden passage. Let us meet again there. Perhaps I'll even have a special deal for you. My pockets are very deep, you see. But until that time, old sport, take care. Take care. Unfortunately, Pocketcat's services are pretty underutilized in this game. This is the only chance you have in the early game to trade with him, and he is not available to trade with again until the end game. And unfortunately, it's just very likely you're going to have all the items you could potentially want from him by then. So if you do go about killing contestants and have heads to spare, he's mostly just there to get some extra saves towards the end of the game, if you need them. Now, we're supposed to be heading to the church at this point. Only a lone wind accompanies you in these empty alleyways. But we want to head towards the shopping street first, which we can take this back alley to get to. And, of course, there is trash for us to check along the way. Actually, before I forget, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's take a look at those Alchemilla volumes that we got. The Basics of Alchemy, Alchemilla Volume 1. The effects of different herbs and plants are listed here. Blue herb has healing properties. It's often rubbed against open wounds and injuries. The effects are almost immediate. Green herbs are commonly used on open wounds to prevent infections. Red herbs have little to no effect on their own, but when used together with other herbs, they have a boosting effect. The smell of lavender can be used to ease anxiety and fear. It's said to also keep bees away. And, of course, we can, as you probably expected, we can craft the red herbs with other herbs to make stronger healing items. We can also combine 2 blue herbs into a blue vial. Now let's take a look at what Alchemilla Volume 2 does for us. If I can find my books again. Jeez, I'm bad at navigating the inventory in this game. The intermediate level of alchemy, Alchemilla Volume 2. The effects of different colored alchemic substances are listed here. Yellow plus oil, highly flammable. Blue plus fly amanita, antidote for the poison. Gold chanterelle plus gold chanterelle, nutritious liquid. So, let's take a look at everything that we can make now. We can make light blue vials, should we have 2 blue vials to spare. The big thing we can make right now is blue plus red herbs, and we're going to make as many of those as possible. These restore 75 HP, which is a huge, huge step up over what blue herbs heal normally. I think it's just like 12 HP, so very, very nice get there. We can also turn gold chanterelles into yellow vials, which we can then combine with the oil we've been finding to make murky vials. These are an extremely useful attacking item. They only deal about 60 damage to every limb of the enemies, but they hit all enemies in a counter, all limbs, and they have extremely high accuracy. In fact, I think it might even be guaranteed accuracy, because they can just hit heads outright, and they deal just enough damage to destroy them. So if you're in a really bad fight, and you think that murky vials can win them for you, don't hesitate to use them. The problem is that oil as an item is completely dependent on RNG to get, so it is entirely possible to just not get any oil. The least amount of oil I've ever gotten in the playthrough is 2. Well, let's go. Oh. I wonder, it seems odd, like, I guess it's not the strangest thing in the world, but it seems odd to have bees still active in the town of Prehevil. Whatever. I guess they would be numb to the horrors of the town around them. Now, heading this way, looks like there's a little apartment here. Let's check out everything here. I have to wonder why. But yes, this is a room that's just designed to make you waste your small keys. Let's get Bella and Levi's opinion. It's really eerie. Levi is a pretty taciturn individual, so he doesn't always have anything to say about what we're seeing in the town of Prehevil. See if there's any supplies for us to get here. Looks like whoever did live here was left in a hurry. Another radio. Just always useless. Wish we could get some news here. Get some reassurance that the outside world still goes on. Did you guys hear something? Probably just going crazy. Sounded like someone laughing at us, though. Alright, some lavender there. Always nice. Just underwear and socks. Lame. Can we get this? No, doesn't look like it. How about in this luggage? Nice. And this guy's seen better days. We'll just leave him. Now I'm going to quickly equip the rifle here, because we've got a very, very threatening enemy coming up. We can already, they're already throwing us into tension. Alright, let's just take a quick shot and then de-equip Marco here. We have the rat hag to deal with. The reason I shot her is because that cane allows her to use an absolutely debilitating skill. With that cane, she can invoke Mischief of Rats. Mischief of Rats is a weak damaging skill that hits your entire party and has an extremely high chance of inflicting concussion on your whole party. She can just spam that until the cows come home and completely decimate your party that way. And that's a problem because she summons those rats, and the rats will bite you for a little bit of damage plus infection, and that can quickly rack up and become a problem. And she can summon up to 3 rats, summoning an individual rat at the end of every turn. Fortunately, I preemptively took out her arm, so she couldn't do anything with that, and that spared us some trouble there. But yeah, do not mess around with rat hags. If you are unable to shoot them before the encounter starts, if you have a large enough party, you really just want to focus fire their torso, because their arm actually has considerably more HP than the torso. They're the first enemy we've come across that are like that, and it can cause serious problem if they're able to fire off multiple Mischief of Rats. Nice! I got a bunch of pet pills at this point. This is very, very handy. I'm going to equip the handgun here, because we've got another enemy coming up that can actually be outright killed with the handgun. You once made a promise to yourself that you'd never lay a finger on firearms ever again. However, the circumstances are what they are. You find it surprising how light the pistol feels in your hand after all this time. Well, that's probably at least partially due to the fact that you've got gains, Marco. Oh, geez, that's actually really, really bad. Let me see here. We actually need to make some... This is not something I was expecting to come across, so we need to make some emergency preparations. Bella, you got your pipe around? Yes. Okay. Levi, I hate to do this to you, buddy, but you need to shoot up right now. We need you in fighting condition. Get a nice little cutscene here. Oh god, they're closing in. This is the first time I've ever gotten attacked by these guys in this area, and we need to use pet pills on both Marco and Levi. Oof, this is a nasty situation to be in. Where are the pet pills? Okay, Marco, Levi, they will both get double turns here. Need to make sure everyone's at full fighting condition here. Okay, here's the blue vial on Levi. Okay, let's go. Oof. I did not expect to run into these guys here. We have run into the mob. This is the most hated boss fight in the game, and for pretty good reason. That guy in the center with the meat grinder, that hits 4 times and has a guaranteed chance of cutting off your arm. Both the riflemen and the mallet, cocoon over there, they hit extremely hard. So this is a brutal fight at the beginning of the game. Fortunately, I have the means to make this fight a little bit more trivial. First off, we fortunately got some murky vials there, so we want to throw that and get a chance of burning some of these guys. Levi is just going to focus on crowd control here and try and take out some of these guys. The mallet guy, oh, nice! That's very, very lucky there. The mallet guy is the next most threatening after the meat grinder, so we want to take him out. Oof, nasty stuff there. But we've got double turns here, so now we can focus on just wailing on these guys and taking them out. Nice! Okay, oof. That crit was very, very fortuitous there. Now, we want Bella to re-equip the pipe wrench. For this fight, we just want her on duty to stun the... what is it? The meat grinder there. We do not want that guy getting a turn, because we have a very high chance of losing arms if we let him go. And yeah, the concussion only lasts 2 turns, so we need to make sure Abella spends her turn re-equipping so she can get wrench toss off again before this guy gets a chance to cut us down to size. Alright, but this is going about as well as the fight can go. It can be a little oof, wow. Nice! That was, oof. That fight is probably the toughest thing for new players in the game. It catches them for a serious loop. But we handled that with aplomb. Now, in the very earliest versions of the game, these guys were bugged and they did not drop any items, which unfortunately denied you a very, very useful crafting item. But it has been patched and corrected so that they do drop items now, and we get a saw blade and a bench grinder. These are materials required to make the single best weapon in the game. That meat grinder that guy was wielding, we can craft it and use it for ourselves, and it is awesome. It is, it hits 3 times and has a 100% chance of causing bleed. It is miles ahead of other weapons in the game, with only one weapon even coming close, and you have to go through a lot more effort to actually get it. Now, to actually craft the weapon you can create off of that, you need to have Abella's weapon craft skill, so you either have to kill her or be playing as her. I'm probably not going to kill her in this playthrough, so we're unlikely to see it for my team, but keep it in mind if you're playing as her or if you want to kill her. Now, to take care of the guy I was intending to fight, here we've got a fecal hound. They have nothing of value, but we can still cut their heads off. Have surprisingly little pistol ammunition, but these are small type enemies that can actually just be killed with simple pistol shots. The rifle shots will kill them also, and these guys are the best use for the pistol. For the sake of being thorough, though, we just want to see what these guys look like in battle. Now, as you can imagine, with a name like Fecal Hound, they smell rancid and inflict the nausea status on your character. This provides various defensive debuffs to you and also lowers your accuracy, but it's otherwise not that big a deal. One thing to note is that Levi is still high off of heroin. That is not a one-fight ailment. It lasts for a while, and because he's high, he's hitting really hard. But it seems to go down in real time, and after about 5 minutes, it wears off, and he goes back to being in withdrawal. For a minute, he'll be in stage 1 withdrawal, and then after that minute passes, he'll be back in stage 2 withdrawal, and back to being terrible. But for that one fight, it's absolutely worth it to make Levi high, so that we have a consistent fighting force able to take those guys out. With that all said and done, we've made it to Prehevil's shopping street. Now, I don't want to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to avoid looting stuff because I'm getting a bunch of wasted shillings here. One thing to watch out for, that enemy right over there, that is the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor has the potential to blind your characters, so I'd avoid fighting him at this moment until you have the ability to make sure that does not happen. However, we've got a club here, PRHVL Bop. This club looks cozy enough. I think I'll sit down for a bit. I've had enough adventuring for the time being. I remember seeing this club from outside, so this is what it's like inside. Levi wandered off to the back of the club. This is the Jazz Club, Prehevil Bop, and it is the second safe area in the game. This is another place where your party members will disperse and you can rest to restore your mind, and there are various other things that can be done here once you get other party members into here. However, you may have noticed that that butterfly, or perhaps it was a moth, was floating in the corner. Huh, sounds different when we step there. The floor tiles feel loose here. Hey! A hidden basement? And underneath the bar, there's a speakeasy. Not really much of a speakeasy if bars are legal, but whatever. The books seem to be in good and clear order. You check if there's anything interesting here. New poems of love and torment. Not really anything good, but there is a bunch of good stuff here. The gun rack is full of rifles. Rifles vary wildly in model and condition. They're most likely leftovers and or stolen from both Bremen and Eastern Union military. Most of them seem to require maintenance. One rifle seems to be in pristine condition though, so we can get a rifle here. But let's look at this rack of guns on the wall. The gun rack is full of rifles and other guns. The rifles vary wildly in model and condition. Blah blah blah. Most of them seem to require maintenance. One trench gun, though, seems to be in pristine condition. We get the 12-gauge trench gun and 4 12-gauge shells. The trench gun is one of the most useful guns in the game, but it also has the rarest ammo. The trench gun does not remove limbs like the rifle does. It's commonly misstated that it does, but it does not. The trench gun, though, stuns enemies when you hit them with it, and if you quickly follow up with a second shot, it will instantly kill them. Obviously, it does not work on boss enemies, but it is super, super handy for taking out certain special enemies who are not immune to the killing effect of it. We're definitely going to be seeing that in action at least a couple times before this playthrough is over. Now, let's check out this board. Well, actually, first, let's check out this table. There's a Luger pistol and some 9mm bullets, plus a coded letter. Let's just take a quick look at that letter. Let's see here. Where is the coded letter? Looks like a coded letter, or a child's prank. Unfortunately, you do not have the means to decrypt this at the moment. There is one character in the game who can actually read that letter. We're not playing as them at the moment, though. Looks like some kind of operation was planned here that took place around Prehevil area. There are 4 locations that seem especially important. You copy the markings to your map. Now let's just talk to Abella here. This place is quite something. Looks like this is an old speakeasy of the club, but it has since been converted into a hideout of sorts. What are all these documents? There's some technical drawings here and there, but the technology looks very advanced. I'm not actually sure about what they're depicting. The map over there is showing certain locations. I think one of the locations is that tunnel we already visited. Whatever's going on here has something to do with these tunnels. Alright, let's get Abella back in our party. Once you open up the speakeasy, Abella will always hang out here instead of at the bar. Sure thing. You know, he's sitting on my behind all day. Now let's take a look at our map here. Once you look at that board, you will mark off the 4 locations. So Abella pointed out that there was one that was seems to correlate to the tunnel we saw earlier, but there's also one that seems to be deeper into the forest area, plus one that's over by the train station. Interesting. Wonder how we could reach that. Also, let's just take a quick bite of moldy bread here. Get everybody back up to full hunger, or I guess fill their hunger. It's a, it's a gauge that goes down, so it's a bit hard to find the right terminology for it. Let's see, Levi. Levi likes hanging out by the piano. Wonder if he can play at all. You play piano? Not really. My mother used to play. She did teach me some. I never properly learned it. Something happened? Why didn't she teach you more? I grew up at the orphanage, so yeah. Sorry, did not mean to open up that wound. Want to come with us? If it's not too much trouble. Alright, and Levi, yeah, he is no longer high, so he is back to being in his usual withdrawal self. It was a necessary evil, though. I don't know how well we could have done at that fight if Levi was not tripping. He needed to be in peak condition for us to handle that as easily as we did. We want to avoid these Inquisitors entirely right now. We're also going to ignore this bar or this cafe for the moment. There's a bunch of things we want to grab in there, but I want to get to the next point of interest. Also, you'll notice these enemies floating down on us. We can quickly run past them, so let's just ignore them for the moment. Do you guys hear something? This department store has a couple of things that we want to check out. Also, noise warning. It's about to get loud as we go up these stairs. Let's do party talk here. Sounds horrible. Levi is looking up nervously. What is all that screaming? Now, one thing to take note of here is that there is a piece of armor for us, a chainmail dress. And this is a pretty good armor. It does not have good blunt defense, but it has huge slash and piercing defense. And the amount of blunt defense it lacks over, say, the leather armor is so negligible that it's not a huge deal by any means. So very, very big upgrade over Marco's combat jacket. Fortunately, you do not have to worry about walking off the edge. And yeesh, that yelling. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh my god. That is awful. Let's not pay that any mind, but over at the far side of the wall here, the dried man is holding something tightly in his fist. Dried man looks dead. He's not breathing and looks almost mummified for whatever reason. Don't mind me, guys. We get the leechmongering. I want to get out of here. This area always creeps me the heck out, and the screaming is loud. One thing to note here is that some of these corpses look more than a little familiar. Reused assets? Or something more? We'll think about it at another time, but yeah, let's get out of here. Can we just leave this place already? This is horrible. Levi is cautiously looking up to the people hanging on the hooks. I would say maybe we should do something for them, but I think we're past the point where we can do anything to help them. Ugh, boy. But yeah, when I first got to this area creeped me the heck out. It is just such a disturbing place. Now, here is the main thing we want to check out on Shopping Street, and then we're going to double back to go to the church. This is Dr. Kefer's Tricks and Magic. And there is a very, very important item. Well, two very important items, but one we're going to buy right now. What's your name, pal? Fuck you, Marco! Oh, the introductions are out of the way. What do you want, stranger? 99 shillings is all you got. What do you want to buy? So the two accessories of note that he sells here, Dr. Kefer sells a variety of magical accessories and some stuff like soul stones, though they're way too expensive to be practical. 50 shillings is ridiculous for a soul stone, not worth it all. The Hardened Heart is one of the most useful accessories in the game. It allows you to survive fatal damage with 1 HP remaining. And a lot of enemies in this game do not have multi-hit attacks, so this can potentially make you immortal against them. It combines very well with that accessory we picked up, the Leechmonger Ring. The Leechmonger Ring allows you to restore HP off of the damage you deal. 2% of the damage that you deal will be restored to you as HP. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 2% of 200, that's about 8 HP right there, and Marco in particular can heal himself for a lot, getting about 12 HP back every time he attacks with that ring equipped. Combined with the Hardened Heart and Marco's counter stance ability, which causes you to launch a counter attack every time you get hit in battle, it can make him immortal against attacks that only hit once, which is the vast majority of the attacks in the game. Very, very good combo. The other thing here is another one of the best accessories in the game, which we're actually going to buy, the Small Things Amulet. This item increases your agility by 5. We're done here. Thank you very much. For nothing. And if we took the agility bonus in Marco's backstory, this would allow him to get double turns in every fight going forward from this point on. We don't really need that at the moment. Let me see. I'm going to put that Leechmonger Ring on Abella so she can get some HP back. Also forgot to equip her Pipe Wrench again. Very common problem for me. But we're not going to put that on Marco at the moment. We're going to put that on Levi. The speed bonus will overcome the heroin penalty and allow him to actually go before enemies in battle. Now that we've actually we've used up some of our money, we can go back to collecting more shillings. Actually, you know what? We're going to get... You didn't do any purloin back there, did you? No, not yet, not yet. You know what? Let's get another Small Things Amulet. Since Abella needs to restore some HP, I'm actually going to give this one to her at the moment. Oh boy, the frame rate is dying. This game is not very well coded, so if you notice any frame drops, that is not my PC. This game has some problems that causes it to drop frames every now and again. We're going to put this on Abella so she can go first and restore some HP in the fights we're going to be getting into. Also, just want to cram some moldy bread down Levi's gullet. Now, let's check out what else there is to offer in this place. No entry, staff only? More like a suggestion, honestly. Now, there's a bunch of boxes to check out here. There's also a ton of bookshelves, but only one of them can actually be checked for anything. Okay, so let's just grab all these boxes. Hopefully start getting some money again, since we now actually need it again. Check this one here. White vial, good stuff. We'll check this. This is the bookshelf that actually has a book on it. Hey, Skin Bible of Venushka. There we go. Now heading over here, got a couple more things to check out. Some shillings, very nice. A chest, let's see if we can't get some equipment here. May as well use up one of my lucky coins. Goocher. Oh, boy. But hey, what's that on that table over there? Mysterious lamp, eh? Well, I know what we need to do here. Let's just give it a quick rub. Hey, what's that sound? Alright, nice, good stuff. Glad we did that. What the heck? What's that sound? Oh, goodness. That is a unique enemy in this game. That is the Poe, and he is one of the few ghost enemies, actually one of 2 ghost enemies in the game. He does not do any HP damage. Instead, every turn, he will use an attack that if you fail to dodge it, and it's a coin flip skill, so you either need to guard to avoid it or succeed the coin flip, it is an insta-kill. And now that we have activated him, well, first, you didn't go downstairs, did you? Things there that would best be forgotten. Touching and groping things you don't understand never ends well. But now that we have activated the Poe, he will appear in several areas. In particular, any area that has a radio can now spawn Poes from said radio. That is the meaning of the jukebox that was by him. We've done everything that we want to do on Shopping Street, so for the sake of this playthrough, we're going to head to the church next. And this video is going to end soon. But before we finish off this video, still got a couple other things to check. Now, this is a unique enemy here, the Sojob, and it's one of the earliest, it's one of the earlier non-humanoid enemies that also has a special way to defeat it. We could attack its torso, but what you actually want to do is, if you have 3 party members, you want to queue them up to attack each of the heads at the lower section. When all of the heads are defeated, and fortunately, even in heroin withdrawal, Levi does enough damage to kill the heads, the Sojob collapses, and you really do want to kill these things first turn, because they are not particularly durable enemies, but they do have an attack that uses each one of those heads at the end of the turn and can deal upwards of 30 damage, plus their top half also has an attack. We can do our best to avoid the other ones. Going into this alleyway here, Heartless Angel, I wonder. But the main thing we're coming in here for is this treasure chest, and boy, there goes my luck on treasure chests. Oh well, we're starting to get the really good stuff at this point in the game. Let's take out this Sojob because he's getting in our way. But yeah, the reason I gave Abella the Small Things Amulet is so that she can launch those attacks with the Leechmonger's Ring equipped and get some HP back. The Leechmonger's Ring is free healing going forward, and it's a great source of preventative damage, refunding a little bit of the damage you take every time you fail to kill an enemy. Inside this cafe, there is a bunch of good stuff to collect. Not really in the storage closets, which is surprisingly light on supplies. It's mostly filled with cleaning products. However, behind the counter, first order of business is that we can check the register. The cash register seems untouched despite all the chaos in the town. Find 10 shillings. We need to restore some of the shillings that we lost. Can find wine vials on this shelf. Get a bottle of vodka here. Some beer here. And even more beer, plus a blue herb. By the way, if you try to take the blue herb in Dr. Kefer's shop, which I'm sure you notice because it sticks out, he will be less than thrilled by it and will talk you out of doing it. And by that I mean he yells at you very harshly and makes Marco cry because he's actually a very sensitive soul. Who's this guy right here? We'll talk to this guy later. This video is running kind of long, so I just want to get to the next point of interest, really. Ditto for this clothing store. There is something in there that we're going to check out, but once again, this video is running long, so let's get on to the next point. Alright, let's see. Just get everything. We've used up all the money we had, so now it's worth it to check all boxes we come across again. Alright, so this alleyway, something to keep in mind. I'm so grateful that we killed the mob now. That means they will hassle us less. The mob can spawn in a variety of areas. The area with Dr. Kefer's shop, that is another area that can potentially spawn. Keep this apartment building right here in mind. We want to come back here later. Now we can open these wooden gates from the other side. This apartment right here, though, this one's just locked from the other side. And there is nothing we can do with it. Man, getting a bunch of useless items today. Let's go for double tails here. I bet you it's going to be double heads. Okay, thankfully. Rifle, thoroughly useless. We do not need any more than one of each gun. Alright, let's get to that church. Finally, we can open up this gate. There we go. And now we're back to the area where Pocketcat was. To get to the church, we just simply have to go into the opposite direction that we took to get to Shopping Street. This will take us over... Another chained-up coffin. No reaction. Well, let's hope... these things are kind of making me nervous, honestly. Probably nothing, though. Heading into Central Prehevil here, we're just going to ignore that trash can real quick. We're going to head into this area right here. This is a bookstore. What awaits us in the bookstore? I'm a little nervous, actually. Books seem to be in good and clear order. Check to see if there's anything interesting. Alright, so we get Maharv here. Get the recipes of the 15th century. That's another crafting book, which allows us to make food. Ooh, nice, the Chapter of Rare. That will allow us to do something in the next video. And the Book of Enlightenment. Hey, now we can save anywhere, should the situation call for it. And this register, also untouched, can get another 10 shillings here. Looks like somebody's been here. The candle is alight. Unfortunately, that is not going to help us with a certain thing that's about to happen. Hey, more boxes to search. Unfortunately, just full of books for sale. Boring. Okay, now let's use this ritual circle here. This is the perfect place to draw a fear and hunger symbol. And with that, we have drawn 3 fear and hunger symbols, so now we have maxed out affinity with the god of fear and hunger. Here is a door locked with a simple lock. We can use lock picking here to get on in. Get a chest here. Nice, actually got this for once. Getting terrible stuff. I need armor and accessories, man. And we get the Book of Fears. Very nice. This crate is just full of books. But hey, we got a bed here. Seems like a nice and cozy place to rest. Let's take a load off. Unfortunately, yeah, this Bobby isn't going to let us sleep. The game seems to be slightly bugged in this version. If this candle is lit, there is supposed to be a Bobby in this, and he's the one who prevents you from sleeping and ambushes you in your sleep. As you can see, now that we're faster than this guy with most of our party members, he is nowhere near the threat he has been. Still need to be careful, though. Always go for the stuff... hate it when they get the tackles off. Always go for the stuff that gives the highest chance of survival. Hey, nice. Let's go for the arms, but Abella should be able to just nail his head. I believe this just completely disables his evasion. What the heck? Oh, did I send Levi? Yeah, okay. Well, same difference, honestly. Okay, but be sure to beat this guy. Yeah, you do not want him getting back up as you try to sleep. With that done, let's saw that head off. Hey, nice, some shillings. And with all that said and done, we can finally take a load off and save our progress. Oh, what a day. I actually got quite a lot done in this video. I'm appreciative. Huh, that's strange. Why is Henrik dead? What could have happened to him? Well, let's check out our Hexen for the time being. Alright, so we can now learn magic. By developing our affinity with the gods Sylvian and the god of Fear and Hunger, we can learn some skills from them. God of Fear and Hunger can teach us a variety of support skills and give us the almighty Agility +1. Were I to give this bonus agility to Marco, he could equip the Small Things Amulet and get double turns every turn, which is absolutely what we're gonna do. Over here, we can only learn one spell from Sylvian at the moment, Pheromones, and I'm going to take that, and I'm actually going to teach it to Abella. Pheromones forces all enemies to attack a specific character with their single target attack, so if they're not using multi-targeting attacks, they cannot hit your character. Now, the Rot spell over here, this spell lowers the enemy's defense as well as halves their maximum HP, and if you use it first thing, that of course does 50% of their HP and damage, which is pretty nice. However, it's not guaranteed to work. There is actually a pretty fun bug with the spell in this current version of the game. The Meat Grinder Cocoon is actually susceptible to this, and if you use it on him, since he does not have a Rot variant, it downgrades him into a much weaker Mallet Cocoon, which is another way you can deal with the fight, but obviously I didn't have access to that spell, and I don't like using those buggy methods anyways. But we need to learn this spell to get other abilities from the God of Fear and Hunger. So next up, we want to teach Agility to Marco. Then Mastery over Vermin will allow us to talk to rats, and you can get some items this way, so I'll be sure to check out any area where we come across rats. But the main reason we want to learn the spell is that it allows us to learn Mischief of Rats. This is an extremely useful ability, a multi-targeting stun ability targets every limb on all enemies in a battle and can completely shut down an enemy team. It is a ridiculously powerful spell. The drawback is that it costs a hefty 35 mine to cast, but used intelligently, that is not a bill we have to worry about footing at all. And with all that said and done, that's all I really want to buy. Flesh Puppetry is an interesting ability. It uses the arms and legs in your inventory to create little attack drones that attack at the end of the turn, and it passively drains your mind at the end of the turn while Flesh Puppetry is active. It's kind of a cool ability, but I'm not a huge fan of it, so I'm going to pass on it. We got everything that we care about from the god of fear and hunger. And I don't really care for learning any of Marco's other skills. Now that we have the +1 agility, fast stance is completely useless, so there's no point in learning that anymore. So we're just going to save our soul stone for the next time that we come here, and let's save our game. Alright, let's take a leave from the Hexen. We've done everything we need. Let's take a leave from the Tower of the Moon, and it is now nighttime in Prehevil, a precarious time to say the least. What awaits us in the dark? Well, we'll find out in the next video. But before we do that, it's now time to read a selection of literature. We'll go over a handful of books here. Now, I'm actually going to read a crafting book here because these actually have some interesting flavor text in them. The book contains traditional recipes dating back to the 15th century cuisine. The recipes are collected from the memoirs of the infamous Chef Anders that worked the royal kitchen of London at the time. It appears that Chef Anders gained infamy by seducing court ladies, and is even rumored to have had a fling with the Princess Elizabeth, the famous virgin princess. Now that you look at it, the book seems to be more about royal gossip than food recipes. Between all this romance and betrayal, you find recipes of Chef Anders' famous meat pie and vegetable pie. Alright, well, that's an interesting direction for a cookbook to take. Let's see, we already read the 4 Ages of History, we already read the Woodsman's Letter. Let's read New Poems of Love and Torment. New Poems of Love and Torment, written by Ron Chambara. Chambara? That name sounds familiar. The book contains age-old writings of the famed poet Ron Chambara. The book concentrates the latter half of his lifetime and production. Poem 1, The Blackened Heart. Stakes are high, you are also more so. Live your lie and play with my blood torso. Who would believe all your tries to blacken my name, dead crow as a prize? They say that a tear only dries, so want to see the day that even Grogroth cries. They will come to know this day as the cruel age. They will come to know this page as the 4th phase. Won't you die? Bit of a slanted rhyme at there. Not exactly the best poetry I've ever read. I've seen better couplets than that. Try harder, Ron Chambara. You get a 7 out of 10. Alright, let's read Mahav. The sights of Mahab. You've seen them too, haven't you? In your dreams, you wander for one lifetime with silhouette of this city and horizon. You've seen the twin towers that rise next to a black night sky. Those macabre obelisks telling tales of some older, more cruel age. You have seen the Grand Gate with its maddening murals and spirals, patterns beyond understanding. It's not like the sound of wind howling between those hollow streets wasn't enough. You also hear the sound of local residents, even while all comprehension would dictate that this place is long abandoned. You still hear them. You're not alone in this vile part of the world. In your dreams, you have seen it, haven't you? The city of Mahab, the city of the gods. Did you know it exists here? Mahab is a major area in the first game, and the back half of the game largely takes place in the ancient city streets of Mahab. Let's see. We're going to read about some of the gods here. Actually, we'll read about one god, but we really want to read about the Book of Fears. Where is it? Yeah, the organization of the books is a bit of a mess. The Book of Fears and Phobias. Nosophobia, fear of disease and contamination. Phasmophobia, fear of ghosts and ghastly figures. Rhabdophobia, fear of magic and otherworldly powers. Erotophobia, fear of sex and genitals. Zoophobia, fear of animals and beasts. Teratophobia, fear of monsters and malformations. So yes, now we have all the phobias in the game, and we can consult it. As you can see, I've got pretty bad luck here. Teratophobia is one of the less desirable phobias to have in the game, as quite a lot of the enemies in the games count the back half of the game count as monsters and mutations, so we're going to be taking extra damage for them. If you're curious to know what's the most desirable phobia to have, it is phasmophobia by a mile. There are only 2 ghost-type enemies in the game, and neither of them deal body damage, so it is absolutely of no concern to have phasmophobia. And finally, let's read about one of the gods. I think the most interesting one to read about would be the god of fear and hunger. God of fear and hunger. They're popular texts that tell stories of a false god and chosen human joining together in the darkest and wettest of dreams. The forgotten and long dormant god of the depths that perished that night. Only an older god never truly perishes. In its stead, the god of fear and hunger planted its roots and started to grow her influence on the surface world. The scheming false deity had hoped her daughter would be the light of mankind. Only true darkness does not breed light. The god of fear and hunger was a pure child, a blank slate birthed in the darkest pits of human creation. That is where she grew. That is all she knew. She was the pure representation of fear and hunger, not spoiled by even a glimmer of hope. Mankind had seen its share of stagnation and suffering up to that point. To rise from those perilous pits, growing pains were necessary. Progress comes at a price. Fear motivated people, while hunger kept them moving forward. People cherished their hardship and drew inspiration from it. They learned from it. What followed was the advancement that mankind had not seen since the Forgotten Ages. The dark fumes that rise from the pipes of the modern cities are direct consequences of this era, an era that came to be known as the Cruel Age. The mark of fear and hunger raises the agility of its wielder. The text includes the sigil of fear and hunger and instructions on how to use it. And with that is where we'll call it a video. As always, hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, though, goodbye.